10 foot off the alley or 6 foot off the fence,
Yeah.
whatever.
The only thing that worries me is that house sits
So,
way up
his
here.
cattle
It's long
fence there is
road.
64
If
feet,
they're bad,
and it's
yes.
50 feet from the property
Well,
line.
property
Right.
line, I mean, Granny's got 50.
Is that
feet to
ditch?
leave.
Yeah.
It's up there, is that
They're
on
in the split thing, right?
his
That
property?
is no
If they're what?
longer
I
even,
don't
Him and Barney's
Is that
fighting
part of his
this,
or
or
part
it's on the
property line?
easement,
It's
I
on
mean,
the
granted, he's
Right.
got 50 feet is what he's.
Right.
like everybody else, he takes care
If he
of
was
the
10
mows
feet
and
off, he'd
everything
still
else,
have plenty.
easement.
15,
15.
has to be 15.
Right, but he says he's 50,
Yeah, so he's got plenty of room.
so if he was 10 feet off, he'd still be 40.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's quite a ways back.
I make a motion to approve.
And he's got his residential, so there's no business we have to worry about on him.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve and a second, we have a motion and a second to approve the permit for David Clace on 3rd and Lovers Lane. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay?
However,
All
when he
those-
starts, I'm sorry,
If that's okay, go ahead.
I was just saying, when he starts, we need to make sure that he is actually building where he said he's gonna be built.
Yeah, he's well within any setbacks if he's 50 feet from the road,
And he
Yeah.
said his contractors
right out in the middle.
Yeah.
in October, November is when they can do it, so.
So they're
So when
probably
he's gonna be gone for 3 weeks, so he'll be back.
They'll stake it before then,
Yeah.
though.
Right.
So
So-
once it's staked, somebody should go down and take a look
And
at
he
it.
will be back in town in 3 weeks. So the end of the month, the first part of October, if anybody needs to speak to him, and I have his numbers. And he said that he would answer any questions you had.
Would you let him know that we would like to be contacted when it's staked?
Sure.
Any discussion? Any other discussion? Correspondence, we have a letter from MMIA, law firm, the lawyers there, in regards to Mrs. Rio's,
Right.
sewer line,
Or what?
her sewer line.
Oh,
And it is from MMIA, Brandon, or Richard Allens, who is the liability and claims adjuster there. He states, "Dear Mrs. Rio, I've investigated the claim you represented to the town of Fromberg requesting remedy and reimbursement of past costs incurred to open the connection to the sanitary sewer from your home at 308 Lovers Lane. As I understand it from your letters to the town dated 3/20/19 and 7/7/19, you have experienced problems from a frozen house connection each year going back to 3/4 of 2017. In order for you or any other member of the public to recover damages from the town of Fromberg, it must be shown that the town was negligent. That is, they breached a duty of ordinary care that directly caused the damage claimed. I'm sorry, but the facts surrounding the matter do not prove a breach of ordinary care by the town causing your damages. The immediate cause of damage appears to be a shallow house connection in combination with normal ground frost levels. Article 4, Section 3 from the town ordinance states, all costs and expense incidental to the installation and connection of the building sewer shall be borne by the owners. The owners shall indemnify with the town from any loss or damage they may directly or indirectly be occasioned by the installation of the building sewer. Building sewer shall mean the extension from the building drain to the public sewer or other place of disposal, also called house connection. I spoke to Brandon of Cotter's Sewer, Septic, and Portable Toilet Service. He verified that all past service calls have been related to freezing in your building sewer, where it is only 18 inches deep as such, all
1 foot
past.
8 inches.
1.8 inches, yes.
1 foot. 8
As-
inches.
As such, all past and any future costs are your responsibility under the ordinance. I also understand that you believe that the construction of the road by your neighbor at 202 Lovers Lane in 2011, crossing above the problem building sewer area, has acted to drive frost levels deeper into the ground without knowing whether this is a proven fact or merely anecdotal. I can say that my research shows average frost depth in Montana of 61 inches, significantly deeper than the depth of your building sewer. I can appreciate your desire to be compensated by the town of Fromberg, but the facts here do not establish legal liability on the part of the town. I will be unable to make payment to you. Sincerely, Richard Allen, CCLA, Senior Liability Property Claims Adjuster, from MMIA. Any discussion, any questions?
And so to rectify the problem, we're gonna be putting in a new sewer line?
We are going to go from the main to the corner of the south corner of her house, which is gonna be a little lengthier than going to the main on the hill. But if we go, we're still gonna have that problem. If she digs her sewer line deeper, and we still go into the grade on Lover's Lane up, cause that ends right there on that corner. So we're still gonna have that grade. So it'd be more feasible for the town and for her if we come off of the south corner and go down the easement and tap into the existing sewer line, put a Y in there so that it flows like it should. I don't think it's gonna cost us that much to do that. And she has agreed to get the plumbing service over to her house and to redo the plumbing, the sewer lines under her house and to grade out under her house down to her property line.
So
So
we're
that's-
basically putting in a new sewer system.
We're putting in a line from her property line to the main, south of her house. Or not south of her house, but west of her house. And that would be more feasible because I don't care what you do on that grade unless we have a huge expenditure to go in and make that sewer line on Lover's Lane way deep, I mean like 6 feet deep, we're
Why
still
would we
gonna
if
have problems.
She's the only one that's gotta hook up to it there, right?
Right, but
Why would we do that
we're
for
still
one-
on the grade, and
Yeah.
she's still gonna have problems.
My question is, why was it hooked up like that to start
I
with?
have no idea.
That looked like a recipe for failure.
Yes, it was,
And-
but it's been
And
that
we
way.
didn't include that customer any service.
No, and it's been that way for many years. When Rosie lived there, her daughter and her grandchildren were there at her residence quite often. So there was a lot more wastewater and hot water and stuff going down that sewer. And as you know, in a sewer line, when there's constant use, the gases build up, it keeps that line warm so that you don't have that freezing
So
problem.
she's basically not using it as much as she used to.
She's
and
one
now
person,
She's
yeah.
got the problem.
So we need to get this taken care of, and
What's the rule? I mean, if they're more than 200 feet,
if they're 100 feet from Maine, they have to be on city services.
and how far is she?
From the main, about 260 feet. Is that about right, Jeremy? 260,
Yeah.
280
Either way,
to her house.
yeah, if we put it to the line there on Lover's Lane or on, what is that, alleyway that goes down?
Blewett.
But you're looking at tying it into Blewett.
Mm-hmm.
So she has the option of either hooking up to the city service or not.
Right.
And
She could go and apply to the county to put a septic in
Right.
there. A septic tank.
Has she considered that
I
option?
don't know.
She's gonna have a hell of a problem if she tries by the river.
Right, but yeah,
Because, I
and
mean, that's
Tammy's
almost
right.
an
There is a river
impossibility.
there.
And then you have to go above ground and, I
Right.
mean, it's,
And then with the water table and everything in that area, yeah, septic tank would not be a good idea.
I believe when she digs her line down deeper, she's gonna be battling water right there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
probably.
either way, you know, we're going to have to do we're gonna have to make sure that that's tamped down even and backfilled like it should be, so that we don't have that, where she's at now, it's like this, and then it gets down, just before you tap into the main, there's a dip in there, about, I think they said about a foot. So that's where it's gonna cause that freezing, if we, on that grade, unless we dig our line way, you know, a lot deeper than it is, and redo that whole sewer on Lover's Lane, she's still gonna have a problem.
I don't see that that's an option. It doesn't make any sense, unless there was gonna be 2 or 3 more houses joining on that corner, and there never will be.
Well, let's see, there's, you mean on Blewett?
Yeah,
Well, the whole street on Blewett is on that line, on that sewer line.
I guess we're talking about a different line. That, the side of the street that her house is on, there's never gonna be any more houses on that side of
No,
the street.
no, there aren't. So that's the one on Lover's Lane,
right.
that comes down that grade.
So why go to Lover's Lane with one house like that
Right.
and go through the
That's
cost
why
that
I'm
it would
looking at
take?
going down and tapping into the existing line that hooks
Right.
into Blewett, which is, I don't think it's gonna be that, you know, more difficult, and
How deep is that line?
if we
on
put in a
Blewett?
new line, it's going to be at least 6 feet deep. We've got to have that sewer line below the frost line.
What is the depth of Blewett? Do you know the end of
The sewer line,
lines of
the
Blewett?
main.
It's 46 inches, isn't it?
It's 4 feet to the top of it, so probably,
Okay.
yeah.
And we've never had a problem on Blewett with that.
So our
depth.
line cannot be 6 feet down
No,
and expect it to
it'll
come
have to
up to
be,
4 feet.
it'll have to be 4 feet or 46 inches or whatever that is on Blewett.
But we haven't been having trouble with it at that.
No,
No.
no.
Nothing
Ted
on-
doesn't have
nothing on
problems
Blewett.
with it,
And
and
there's,
Blewett has.
and there's
nothing.
other flow.
Yeah, all
involved.
along, the whole street of Blewett, the sewer hooks up on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And Ted's comes in where Mr. Clace lives now, it comes right by his little shed there, straight across the easement and hooks into Blewett.
That seems like the logical remedy.
How much of an uphill grade is that? From
To
her
Lover's
house
Lane?
to- Well, from her house
To Blewett?
to Blewett.
Well, we'll have to measure for grade because you're
Yeah,
looking
I
at
don't
at
know
least
offhand,
1/8 of an inch, you know, drop to the
We'd
main.
make the grade
Yeah,
when we dug it.
right. The code says it should be 1/8 to 1/4 inch
Drop
drop to the main, from the house to the main, so that it flows like it should. And
per
I-
10
and I-
feet or what?
Per 10, per foot, I think it is, or per 10 feet. I gotta look again. I wrote it down,
Yeah,
I
there's-
just didn't bring it with me. But,
That's stuff you don't have to remember.
right, well,
Somebody else will know.
but, you know, the thing of it is that we have enough room there for grade and still be able to hook in and have her have some, you know, flow without problems.
So, what is it gonna take to get that done?
Well, right now, we've got it measured, and we've got the materials ordered, and they should be able to start trenching as soon as it's dry enough for them to trench over there.
Yeah,
So we can definitely get it done before the snow flies?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to get both of them, Tomahawk and this one
Did
done.
we get a locator to mark on it for the
That, I called him.
house?
Yeah.
Our house would be closer to
When do you plan on starting that one?
Was this week, but then
Really?
moisture came in.
Yeah.
But no, that's why I got everything ordered and everything's on hand.
Cool.
So,
Good.
all the fittings,
You
everything's ready.
comfortable with that?
Yeah, B&J have gone over there, looked at it a couple of times, and gotten a game plan together.
Good.
Is she aware of this, so then we're
Oh,
just not
yes.
leaving a trench open out
No,
here?
I went over and talked to her,
Just as long as she's on the same plan of having a contractor ready.
yeah. Okay, the water improvement, water system improvement is the packet that you got from Great West and, talking about the, lateral line that's going through, is evaluating our, water system and, fire hydrants, including adding a redundant line under the highway and replacing fire hydrants. Enclosed, you'll find a map. of the proposed water main replacements, city and all proposed improvements are in section 17-2021 and within township 5 south and range 23 east. So he's asking if we would review the proposed improvements and return any comments that you may have regarding the potential environmental impacts and anything else that you'd like to do. So if you have anything else, then you can, if you have any questions or anything, you can write them down and we'll get them emailed to him. This map just shows you where they are looking at putting in the new lines and the new hydrants throughout the town.
Somewhere do we have a count? Yeah. 22.
Mhm.
I thought I count more than that, but. My good. It's counted.
Red on that dark blue. It's
Yeah, this map, man, makes my eyes
Make your
cross.
eyes sore. And we can always see if we can't work in, a few extra if we need them, depending on,
How much money we got?
we're applying for 750,000.
I thought it was 500.
No, he's saying the minimum
The minimum is.
would be
500.
500.
The cost of the project is between 450 to 500,000. And
Yeah,
I think that's what he was asking for, was across that amount, if I remember correctly. From the-
right, but they always
Yeah.
ask for a contingency amount
Right.
on a grant. Just like with our lagoons, we got, so many millions, but we still have contingency funds, which we are using now to remove the sludge and get that taken care of and spread out.
So the map just shows you the proposed areas where they want to put the hydrants, which are in red.
Okay.
They have where they want to put the redundant line in the map. And they also show different water lines. And it's all, I didn't probably get that. That's easy. So the reds are all your hydrants.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your water main.
Ooh, I
So,
didn't see that one on the other pictures, that's 22 then.
Yeah,
There's the hydrant up there.
maybe I cut off some of them, I'm trying to get this one. The other one's huge, so,
There's only 9 fire hydrants on the east side of town.
so, and then
Yeah.
it says your gate valves are marked in this too. I mean, it's really hard to see, but to
Why,
put it on, to put it on black and white, you couldn't see anything, so. So this just shows all your lines, your hydrants, they want to put in. And then we got
I
done
think
lines right
this
here.
down here
going
is the
across the
east side
highway.
of town. Here's our lagoons here. That's our holding cell, isn't it? This is.
And I don't know if this has gone through
Rivers-
like the
rivers
last,
over here.
Right,
when
yeah.
they did
That's east
their last
side.
CR with the hydrants.
Nine
If
hydrants.
this is what they had planned earlier and that's what they just
Pretty
did.
scary when
They
you
might
get
have
those.
just taken it off
Yeah,
of
for
it.
that one, yeah.
Well, we
That's
can
something we can
always,
ask Chad.
I can talk to Chad and we can always revise that.
Have we had any correspondence with Chad since he was at our last meeting?
Did you get an email from him today or yesterday?
No, it's that we have the public hearing on the 24th
Right,
that we have to have for our DLA and then our, and to look at the,
Does it look like we're gonna have our ducks in a row to be able to go for that first round?
yes.
Does it?
Yes, we'll have that on the 24th, and it's not due until the 30th, if we have, if it's a go for, and the public hearing is go for, and then we'll have another meeting after that one, stating, to make the resolutions or whatever needs to be done to, vote on it, then we'll have everything done before the 30th, and we'll have that, because that's, I think, I believe that the deadline is.
That's the drop dead date.
Yes.
When is the public meeting?
The 24th.
September.
and he's also written up, and now the dire circumstances and just we need it out.
Have you
there.
seen that letter?
Not yet, but.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, he'll fax it to us or email it to us
Yeah.
and we'll print it out so the council can have it too.
Good.
But yes, if we get everything done and we do our meetings, we have the public hearing on the 24th and
Has to
then
be advertised.
it's advertised, I put it in the, so it'll be advertised this Thursday and next Thursday, that's the two public meeting advertisements. And then I will put it 3 days, the 48 hours notice, but then after that, there will be also another meeting after that public hearing so that the council can vote on what the public's comments are and if we want to go forward or not with the DLAO and the recommendations and stuff.
24th of this month?
Yes. At
So-
7:30.
If you could state the month, it would help clarify, please.
What?
If you could state the month when you're saying dates, so that
Okay.
clarifies.
So they'll both be on the 24th, one will be,
Okay.
the hearing will be first, and then the meeting afterwards to vote on if we're going to accept the DLA grants and the recommendations.
So, any questions or comments about the water improvement plants or water system improvements and the grant application? I can see Jerry's thinking over there, but.
No, I'm reading.
You draw your picture.
Okay, so we're on to ordinance revisions. Any public comment on the revisions? Okay, so this is the second reading, Title II, Administration and Personnel, Ordinance 503, and ordinance amending 2-1-2-02, eligibility to office to coincide with the state of Montana.
An ordinance amending 2-1-02 eligibility to office to coincide with Montana state law. Be it enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code Section 2-1-02 eligibility to office is hereby amended as follows. 2-1-02 general qualifications for municipal office. No person is eligible for any municipal office, elective or appointive, who is not a citizen of the United States and who has not met the qualifications prescribed by law or by ordinance adopted by the town. This refers to the previous ordinance 261, which was adopted in 2015 in MCA 7-4-4104. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on second reading.
Any discussion?
Make a motion to accept ordinance 503.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have an ordinance, or a motion and a second to approve and accept ordinance number 503, 2-1-02, general qualifications on second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so we are looking at public comment for anything that's not on the agenda.
I see that we have a letter from Terry Feller.
Yeah, that's just, he just wanted you for information, he's not here tonight, and it was way past the time to put it on the agenda. And so, okay,
Are you gonna read that?
Yep. I'll use your copy because mine's buried. Honorable Mayor and City Council of Fromberg, in regards to August 5th, 2019 City Council meeting in which the certified alley adjacent to James Perkins' property was discussed, I have noticed that no action has been taken regarding the allegations and evidence presented. There has been ample time to address the issues at hand. If the city fails to take action to recover the property wrongfully taken from the city, I will pursue this in civil court. Please provide a response in writing detailing the intended actions. The response is requested in 3 to 5 business days and can be mailed to his address. Sincerely, Terry Feller.
Is this something that we want to open up for discussion?
We can. I would just like to say that I have read the minutes of the past meetings in 2011, also the one in 2017, and the 2011 meetings, minutes stated in the minutes that they vacated that proposed alley. And they granted Mr. Perkins the deed for the west 10 feet of that alley. Then in 2017, they granted him the other half of that alley to the east. So I'm not really sure. I know that Terry has a plat that was filed in 1890, saying that that alley was a designated alley. So, and I have looked up several things. I haven't found anything yet that contradicts that, so we'll have to just go from there. And as far as any action or resolution taken to Mr. Feller's comments, we've been working hard on a lot of other things, so we haven't really had a lot of time to focus on Mr. Perkins's alley. My comment to Mr. Feller was, what is the motive here? This alley, proposed alley, or whatever it was, this whole action was started way back in 2011, and I'll get right with you, Keith. And I guess there's got to be a motive, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but I'm not going to voice it at this point. So is there any other discussion, Keith?
Speaking for Terry, the motive is the principle of the thing, for one.
Well,
Okay.
I got a
For another
I got a
thing-
phone call saying that there was a monetary value involved in that.
Not by Terry. Has to be with the owner of the trailer park, if that's the
Right,
case.
that's true. Ms.
Okay.
McLean, yeah.
Now, my question for all this, did you notify those 2 trailers behind me that they have to take their trash to the street?
No, because
Because
The
Vern will not go down his alley,
well,
as
you
you
know,
call it.
that, I have not yet to talk to Julie. I had a call into her from Republican Services.
Well, I've already talked to Vern.
The,
He's not allowed. By his company's rules.
well,
He's
that's not
allowed.
completely true. Because Republic Services go on private property every single day and every one of their runs. They go on the private properties where they go down the highway, they go on private property up here.
I'm just repeating what I was told
I know.
by Vern.
I know, but I will talk to
Right, yeah.
Julia Julia Jones on tomorrow morning. I'm gonna call her back and see if I can get a response and get this cleared up, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that they can go on my daughter and her husband's property and go right on their property, which is private property, without any grant, without an easement or anything else signed. That they do that all over, and they can't go on that property because it's private.
I don't know. You have to talk to them. I'm just telling you what I was told.
I know, I've
By the
heard that
driver
too.
of the truck that picks up the trash.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So,
So
I'm
I
just
will
speaking
talk
for
to
my-
Julia.
I'm just speaking for Terry, my cousin, so, because he can't be here today because he had to work.
Ken.
Hope, have you read this letter?
Yes,
Is that anything that we have to respond to?
I don't know exactly what he wants.
Yeah. Should we respond to it in a letter that asks what he wants?
It's up to the council.
I think we need to address it, and if you can write a letter and address it for whatever legal standpoint which protects the city the most.
That's what he's asking for.
Well, I guess that my biggest concern is, and question, probably the biggest question, not so much concern, but the question is, this happened back in 2011. Why wait? Why now? See, that really kind of bothers me, because things that happened years ago, where everybody was quiet about it for years and years and years, and all of a sudden, it's a big deal. Dottie?
My understanding is it wasn't brought to anyone's attention until one of the children from one of the mobile homes that lived off that road, was playing out there, I think with her dog or something, and Mrs. Perkins came out and told her she needed to get off her private property. And that's when it was brought to the attention that, because I sat here in that last meeting where they gave him the rest of it, which my understanding when they talked about it was what was behind him, not beside him.
Well, that was my understanding too.
So right there, they gave him something they didn't say they were giving it.
So is the reason Vern's not picking the garbage up, is it because Perkins won't let him on that land, or what is it?
No,
No.
Vern said to
Mr.
me,
Perkins said he could come
that-
down there anytime he wanted.
that's private property, so he cannot go on that private property, and to let those two people, the one directly behind me and the one catty corner behind me, they have to take their trash cans to the street. That's-
And they've never had to do that.
Well,
I
that's
know,
because
they
Vern
never
didn't
had
know it was
to.
private
They
property.
never had to, but
But
Mr.
there lies,
Perkins
there
won't
lies
let
the
them come in
rub.
there.
Is it private property? They've been going down that driveway for years.
Until,
And they go on everybody else's private property. I know, because my daughter.
okay, but that private property he's not going on that private property to pick up Mr. Perkins's garbage. He's
He
going
is.
on that private
He's
property
going
to
on
pick
that
up on
private
the other.
property to get the two houses adjacent to Mr. Perkins on the corner of that property. And he also picks up Mr. Perkins's garbage while he's there, because he puts it by his trash, or by his garage back there.
I don't know that, that was. my-
Tammy,
that
you
was
had
my
a comment
understanding.
earlier, I'm sorry, I didn't call on you.
My question is, I know they're saying it's abandoned, but was there a resolution to make it abandoned, number one? Because you guys are walking down a slippery slope when you start abandoning roads and streets. And I know this because I own property where they've abandoned a county road in New Mexico. And it's a huge deal, because the neighbors next to me planned on taking his 50 acres and his house